By the way, this is something a lot of people forget. Fake news was not a term Donald Trump made up.
Right.
This was a term they made up, and then he reappropriated it and turned it around on them. But they were the ones who said, there's fake news, fake news, fake news. And the Congress hauled all of the big tech execs in front of them for the first time ever. Now this is a regular thing, but this was the first time this has ever happened before in 2016 when they made Jack Dorsey, who was running Twitter at the time, and Mark Zuckerberg and all these guys come from, and they explicitly threatened all of them if they didn't crack down on fake news, that they were going to regulate these companies and break up these companies and ruin everything they have. The United States of America's federal government forced this kind of censorship regime on big tech platforms. And I'm not claiming that a lot of these big tech platforms didn't agreeably go along with it, but that is where the origin of it was.
I will say, I think it is algorithmic. That being said, it is a fact that, and we now know this, CIA, FBI, intelligence agencies were giving instruction on a weekly basis to these big tech platforms.
What was that thing called? What was the operation? What is it called?
I don't remember the operation name, but I remember when...
Are you talking about back in the day?
No,
Mockingbird?
Yeah.
But no. That's a long time ago. I'm saying recently we discovered that like Vijaya Gadde was in regular communication with intelligence agencies.
Oh, with like the Twitter files and all of that kind of stuff.
The one big regret I have from doing that show with Rogan is I often say, like, I didn't really prepare for anything. Rogan asked me to come and do the show, and I just knew this stuff and was able to talk to them. But man, if I really sat down, researched, and thought about it, it would have been very obvious for any journalist to say, Tim, ask them if the government is working with them in any way. And I didn't even...
Yeah. And by the way, dude, for the record, you did an incredible job on that show. I still think that's one of the best moments you've ever had in your career. It was amazing to watch. It was amazing. Well, it was. Look, dude, it was incredible. It was incredible to watch them totally crumble over your very basic, just being like your obvious bias. But just imagine
Tim
Pool from today could take a time machine and go back and just give Tim Pool from that show a few notes. Just like, hey, dude, just so you know, it's going to come out in a few years that they're totally in bed with the CIA and the FBI and they're getting money from these organizations.
Could you imagine?
And being instructed. And then you could just go in there and you could ask them the direct question and get them on the record, so to speak. It would be amazing, dude.
It was really amazing how unprepared they were for the conversation. They assumed Joe was going to bring in some like MAGA guy. And then they were just like, well, Carl Benjamin said this. And I was like, yeah, he should probably be banned for that. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, I get it. People break the rules. But I think one of the big takeaways was when they said, we have this misgendering policy. And I pointed out, conservatives have an inverted view of misgendering. So you've sided with one of them.
Well, because the way it went down, if you guys remember this, is that they said, no, we don't have a left-wing bias. And then Tim goes, well, you have this misgendering policy. And they go, well, yeah, it's wrong to misgender people. And Tim was like, that's a left-wing bias.
That is a
that is bias. Because the right-wing perspective is that this would be misgendering.
Yeah.
And so, but look,
just to stress, the one regret I have is I did not ask, have you, the first question is, do you as a business entity have communications with government officials?